Wake up, MMA fans. It looks like someone just made history. In case you haven't heard the big news yet, you might want to remember the name Zion Clark, a name that will reshape the entire MMA world, and we'll be here to see it when it happens. In this video, we'll tell you about Clark's stellar debut win against all odds and what fans and fellow fighters like Conor McGregor are saying about him. First up, Zion Clark has been suffering from caudal regression syndrome since birth. You can argue as much as you want to, but we all know that MMA is one of the toughest combat sports known to humans. Kickboxing, wrestling, boxing, and BJJ, it has everything. Naturally, it was very surprising to see Zion Clark, a fighter born with no lower limbs, even come up for an MMA debut. You see, Clark has been dealing with caudal regression syndrome, a syndrome that affects fetal development. It happens in about 1 in 60,000 births every year, so baby Zion was born without legs. We bet no one could have even thought it possible. Like any sport, most people have an ableist view of what the MMA is and what the ideal fighter should look like. An MMA fighter and a man with no lower limbs, those are two mutually exclusive categories for you lot, or at least they were before this man proved everyone wrong. Zion wasn't going to let anything get in his way of achieving his dream to be an MMA pro, and he's been working towards it for a while now. This man has participated in the Olympics and Paralympics and has broken many records. Clark got his nod from the Guinness Book of World Records for being the fastest man to walk on hands, the most diamond push-ups in 3 minutes, and the highest box jumps with hands. His tattoo on his back says no excuses, and we think that's a mantra that Zion has believed in all his life. His confidence is really what got him to the point that he is today. Coming up, the 25-year-old won his debut fight against Eugene Murray. No, we're not lying. Look it up. Recently at the Gladiator Challenge, Seasons Beatings in San Diego, this is where history was made. It was unbelievable to watch. It was almost magical. Here we are, watching a man with no legs come up to fight an able-bodied fighter, Eugene. The odds were very much in favor of Eugene. Remind us again, how many times has such a thing even happened in the MMA? We knew Clark and what he could do. We'd seen him shine in the Olympics. We'd heard of his shining college career at Kent State University. But would he be able to win the biggest fight of his career? His MMA debut. Everyone was taken aback with surprise and pure admiration as we watched the 25-year-old emerge as the winner. The fight went into 3 rounds before Zion completely took his opponent down. It was a unanimous decision from the judges. We don't think you understand. This is the first ever fighter without lower limbs who's beaten an able-bodied opponent. The 30-27 win was a clean sweep on the judges' scorecards. Next, the fighter celebrated his victory in style. We keep telling you, confidence is key. After that mind-blowing fight, Zion took his thought to Twitter. There, we could see the young man posing in a photo of himself on a car. He wrote, "Don't speak, just grind, and the success will automatically flow." He's never let the syndrome affect his dreams. He's spoken up about it before, as well, prior to this amazing debut. He's always dreamed of defying all odds and proving to everyone that there's nothing that he can't do. He told TMZ that the MMA is just like wrestling for him, something he's quite experienced in. And by that, we don't mean the Special Olympics. No, he's always wrestled against able-bodied people and won against them. Now, he's going to take that up a notch and fight them in the MMA. He's going to knock them all out, one by one, and be an inspiration to every young kid who dares to dream big. Zion said, "It's as simple as that. I'm a fighter." Following up, this star is looking forward to bigger things in the future. Or, should we say, the biggest things. Many people think that people like Clark will come and go. They'll have their moment under the sun and then disappear, go back to their usual life. He won 1 match, but a full-fledged career in the MMA is quite impossible to think of, right? Well, the Ohio-based fighter certainly doesn't think so. In fact, he's got even higher hopes for the future. He's not done with the MMA by far. The man's only getting started, and this first win has only boosted his confidence. Zion's dreaming of becoming a world champion now, and he'll do whatever it takes to get to that stage. He's ready to take it all the way to the top of the world. You know what this means, right? He's talking about the best fighters in the world, undefeated fighters. And Clark's here to conquer them all. He wants that shiny belt. He's realized his full potential after the victory, and knows that he's in a position where he can do a lot of damage. He said, "Why not run this train off the rails? I try to keep it moving forward." He doesn't want to be remembered for this one fight. No, he wants everyone to see the next one, and the one he does after that, and then a couple more. Now for the big one. This fighter isn't looking for any shortcuts. Of course, his claim to the MMA throne isn't like a one-year plan for the star. He's only just gotten started, quite literally. Clark knows that there's a lot to be done, and there's a lot he's got to focus on and learn before he can get to the top. But he knows it's possible if he puts in the work, and that's all that matters. While MMA could be his priority right now, it's not the only thing on his mind. He's also training to wrestle at the Summer Olympics in 2024. The 25-year-old also has eyes set on wheelchair racing at the Paralympics. Now, we're not going to make any assumptions or predictions about whether Clark is actually capable of winning the world title in the MMA, but after watching his debut and looking at his past record, we think it's safe to say that he could soon be competing in a major MMA promotion. It's pretty likely we'll see Zion compete in Bellator or maybe even the UFC, especially judging by the kind of recognition he's getting lately. Let's take a look at what the fans are saying. Hint, they love it. Over the years, Clark has acquired a very loyal and supportive fan base. We don't know if you know this, but our man's also got a Netflix documentary short film about him, which was released about 4 years ago. It's called Zion, and everyone has to check it out. These fans have really supported their idol throughout these years, and were very happy to be by his side after that victory. One user was full of respect for the star, while another called him a beast. Many were left in complete and utter shock. Obviously, the debut got many new fans in the door as well. After an entrance as grand as that was bound to happen. Everyone has been in complete awe of how Zion managed to achieve that win. Every news channel is talking about him. Everyone knows his name. Social media apps have his photos and videos everywhere, liked by hundreds and even thousands of people. Moving on, Zion still thinks he could have done better. Are you listening to this guy? He literally won every round, and yet he thinks there's room for improvement. That's a real star in the making. The fighter said that he could have closed the distance a bit more than he did. He thinks he did an okay job of forcing his opponent into the cage, and he's going to work more on that. Honestly, that's the best attitude to have in any sport. You can already tell that he'll go a long way. Up next, Conor McGregor gives Zion a major shout-out. McGregor was absolutely fascinated by Zion's debut and congratulated him via Twitter. And he didn't simply say well done or something like that. No, he had a lot to say. It looked like Conor was turning into somewhat of a sports commentator as he mentioned every aspect of Zion's performance. He talked about his lighting entry on the low single and the way he strikes his opponent in a unique and strategic manner. He praised how Zion overcame his disadvantages. He couldn't kick his opponent, so the only way he could stop him was by developing knockout-ending shots mid-transitions in grappling. And there are not many people who can actually do that, by the way. But Clark could, and he showed us all. McGregor wrote, "Congrats and so much respect to that man Zion Clark. MMA is the best sport. It really is, Conor." Zion was absolutely taken aback by such high praise coming from someone who's been at the top of this game. He thanked McGregor for his support, writing that this was only the start for him, and he was very excited to see how much further he could go. Conor didn't miss this chance to engage with the young fighter, calling him absolutely legendary. Finally, no matter what happens, haters are going to hate. It looks like Clark's doubters weren't even impressed by his debut. Not because they thought it wasn't good, although we're sure we can find a couple of tweets talking about how what Zion did was no big deal. But most of these trolls seem to think that the fight was rigged. One fan wrote that he really respected Zion, but he can't support rigging. And what tipped us the most was obviously the ableist attitude that people had toward his confidence, saying that it was foolish for him to think he could ever go big in the MMA. It's almost 2023. You all need to leave that attitude behind. That's a wrap on this video. Do you think Zion could potentially compete in the UFC? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.